In this video we're having a quick look at annotation of your initial ideas. So basically how to label your design ideas. We're going to start by having a quick look at what's in the specification. Then we're going to have a little look at the kind of content and layout. And then we can have a look at these three examples and pick out some kind of do's and don'ts and tips and techniques from those. If we start with the specification, you can see that it's broken down into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. The particular bullet point that we're looking at is the one that relates to design ideas, which is your annotation. So you can see to get the top, the A star, B, you need to make sure that each of your design ideas is fully explained, so the person who is reading your work isn't left with any questions about that particular idea. If we move on and have a look at content and layout, I would say that you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 aspects that make up your initial ideas. The title is an obvious one that can go anywhere. It's just to make sure that the person that's reading it doesn't mark it under the wrong section, so you're actually very clear on where you're gaining the points. Try and limit your ideas to 2 per slide for your initial ideas. And what I mean here by close-up and detail is if your ideas require another drawing from a different view or to describe a particular function, you can cut those in between each other, and that just makes it look a little bit more interesting. You want to explain your idea. So in orange here, this text box would just represent a simple paragraphed explanation of what your idea is and what it does. The justification is talking about why you've made some of the decisions that make up that idea, why you've used particular materials, or why you've solved the function problem in a certain way. And then finally, very important, always remember to check back against the specification. So you could do that as a good old-fashioned sort of spec checkbox, or if you wanted in a more sort of paragraph format. So what you're left with is a page that is full but not confusing, full of information that makes up these criteria here: images, close-up, details, explanations, justifications, and then finally checked against your specification and your brief. If we move on and have a look at some examples of initial ideas, so just in red we'll pick out some points. So it's got a spec check table here, which is excellent for each idea. The drawings themselves are a little bit on the small side. The text is very difficult to read, dark blue and black, and it's also not being paragraphed. The content could be excellent, but it's very difficult to read. And then we've got some detailed shots here, or detailed drawings. So you've got 3 there that make up the big one, and that's good to see because it explains the design in a little bit more detail. If we move on to example 2, we've got the same problem with the text. It's easier to read, but it's still not been broken up. So you haven't broken up your sort of justification from your explanation there. We've got some good detail outlined in there, dimensions and specifics. The images are still a little bit small, but we've got some pictures which link back and explain where these ideas have been inspired from. So that's linking back to your earlier research or your inspiration board. So that will be a good aspect there. Finally, example 3, we've got images that are too small. We've got the checking here, the analysing is colour coded, so we can see that that is positive and that's negative, and that's proving that you're checking back to see whether your idea meets the specification. The text has been broken up into different topics, which is good, but we've got some formatting issues there which makes it quite hard to read. And always consider whether your background colour actually interferes, adds or takes away from the colours you're putting on it. So use these techniques when you're annotating or formatting your ideas pages, and remember they need to look full and professional.